Okay, welcome back. Now in this video, what I will be doing is I will be looking at trigonometric ratios. So to understand trigonometric ratios, we need to first understand the parts of a right angle triangle. Now many of you, when you look at this here, you would immediately say it is a right angle triangle. However, do not fall for this trick. In order for you to know if a triangle is right angle or not, it needs to actually have the right angle symbol placed at the 90-degree mark, which means you have a vertical meeting a horizontal that gives you 90 degrees. Now with that established, let's move on to the next step. Something that we need to pay attention to. We need to understand how we are going to label our sides. Now the longest side, which is here, is the hypotenuse. We're going to write it as abbreviated HYP. So that's the shortened form. You will normally see this here in textbooks or generally all over the place, or you can actually just see it as H, but for now we're going to use HYP. Next, we need to focus on how we label the other two sides, which are the opposite and the adjacent. Now, the issue most persons actually have with this is in relation to identifying which is which. Now, notice I just placed an angle here. Now, in order for you to understand what the opposite is, it's the opposite side of the angle. The opposite side of the angle is here. Therefore, this side is the opposite. So, do you follow that? Let's just look back at that again. Here, we actually have our angle. Here's our angle. And the side that's opposite, that is called opposite. Leaving our last side to be the adjacent, which we're going to put as ADJ. Now, of course, that's very simplistic to think of. So let's do another triangle here now. Now again, in order for it to be a right angle triangle, it needs to have the 90-degree or right angle indicator. So like before, the diagonal side, which is the longest side, is the hypotenuse, leaving us now with identifying what's the opposite in the adjacent. So again, unless you are giving or you're given that this is the angle, you can't just jump and say this is the hypotenuse and the opposite. It needs to be indicated. So if you look here, we identified this side to be the angle, meaning the opposite side is the, let me rephrase that to be more better. Here is where the angle is located. Therefore, the side that is opposite, which we have here, is what we call our opposite. Likewise, with us being here now, if I'm to label this side as my angle, it would identify here to be the opposite side. And with this being the opposite side, this is now the adjacent side. Now, this is generally what you'd need to understand in order to use the trigonometric ratios. Now, let's now focus on that. Now, there are three trigonometric ratios that you'll need to actually memorize. And it's not that hard to actually memorize. So let's go through how you can actually do that. We're going to use, let's say, a statement. So the statement would go like this. Some old horses can always hear their owners approach. Right? So we can actually use this to actually make use of our trigonometric ratios. Now, this, what I'm about to show you, is a shortened version of it. And of course, you will need to memorize how it works. Now, let me just start here. Now, we are using the first letters. So we're doing it in groups of threes. Okay, so with our first letter, we have, for sum is S. We're going to make use of an equal sign and we're going to write first set of old is O, first set of our horses is H. So this is our first one. There's something else I'll need to add in, but I just want you to at least remember that part there for now. Next, we're first letter C, so we are here. First letter C, or equal sign, and then we're going to have A divided by H. And then finally, the last one, first letter is T, equal sign, then we have O being divided by A. Now, what are these ratios in general? They actually are the trigonometric ratios, as I started with the video, and this is how you actually go about in solving for unknown angles and sides in right angle triangles. The first one is written as, you can use shortened version of SIN, pronounced sine, and then theta. So this symbol here, let me draw it bigger. This represents angle. So you have to remember that. So sine of the angle is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. The second one is cosine. And instead of writing cosine, we're going to write COS. And then of course we're going to put our angle. So cosine of the angle is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And then finally, tangent, or what you're going to go as tan, of the angle is equal to opposite over adjacent. So these here, sine theta, cos theta, tan theta, are what we're generally going to make use of to solve for trigonometric ratios. So look at this video and try to document this somewhere. We call it SOHCAHTOA. Some old horses can always hear their owner's approach, and it's one way you can keep practicing. Just keep saying it so you can actually remember these three trigonometric ratios. They are very important. They come in many different questions. So now, with this being said, I hope that you find this to be informative. And again, we just need to keep practicing. We're on the road to CSEC 2024. So put in that work, practice, 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 and you will become successful at CSEC Mathematics.